Hey yo, what it do? It's your boy Rue, and welcome to Reality. This is episode 3. Y'all already know what we're doing here, and I have somebody very special from the 978 with us, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself and let us know a little bit about what you do, who you are, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Well, I go by the name of Natine. I make music. I'm a musician. I guess overall artist, but that's kind of what I do best. There's not really much to me. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm like a freaking unicorn. I don't really go out much and do stuff. So I'm always incognito in the shadows. I like to keep to myself a lot.
You move in silence.
I move in silence. Yes.
He's secretive. Exactly. All right. So you have an EP coming out. I want to get right into that. Let's talk a little bit about the EP, the inspiration behind it. I know that the photo of the back where you have the track listing, I feel like that was shot in Puerto Rico on your recent trip.
It was, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this new EP, because I believe it's called Color. Is it? No. What's your first EP?
My first EP was it's called 2470 f2.8, and that is a camera lens. So that name came from. So at the time, I was going through a lot of shit, as
we all
people do. Exactly. That's where a lot of inspiration comes from. But I asked one of my good friends, Mav, who actually has a studio right next door. We were living together at the time, and I was like, "Yo, if I was a camera lens, like which camera lens would I be?" And he gave me that camera lens. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, it can be stubborn at times, and sometimes it doesn't see what's right in front of it type thing.
Okay.
It only sees from far away. And
it sounds like my camera lens.
Yeah, exactly. So
that my friend gave me.
I still have a screenshot of the text he sent me somewhere, but like, yeah. That was pretty much the idea behind that first EP. But
and then there was a second EP where you're in an all white with colorful letters. Yeah. I don't remember the name.
That one's called Safe. That one I technically considered an album just because it was very long. And there was
a lot of reggaeton references on there.
Like a lot, yeah.
And I loved how it transitioned from English, and then like in one song you literally mixed English and Spanish, and then it just turned Spanish, and I was like, yeah, what the fuck did I just get into right now?
That one was that was in the midst of like lockdown. So I was just in my room, and at the time I had been working from home like my 9 to 5. And I was literally in my room like 45, 50 hours a week. So I would just stop working and then open my laptop and then just get to it, and just beats were flying.
The grind never stops.
There wasn't like a lot of thought behind that. There wasn't like a theme.
It sounded very experimental.
It was just me experimenting. Yeah. And there was like a lot of just creative neurons firing and just stuff going on in my head, and I was like, whatever, I'll put it out just because that's what I'm making now. So.
Real quick, let's talk about some of your inspirations behind the music. Like,
I mean, if you couldn't tell by my hair, my biggest one is Frank Ocean. Of course.
I just knew it. I swear to God.
That's always been. I remember the first time I heard him. I think my first song I heard from him was Pink Matter. My sister was playing it, and I was in like freshman year of high school or something. And I just walked out of the bathroom, and I was like,
what the fuck is that?
I was like, what are my ears feeling right now? Yeah, and I just looked at her like what? Who is this person? She was like, oh, his name's Frank Ocean. I was like, Frank what? Like, who is this guy? Anyways, yeah, like he's always, his voice, his writing, his storytelling, a lot of that is where I get my process from, and a lot of like the lyrics and just the way I form lyrics around melodies or whatever. That's where I get a lot of that from. Another huge inspiration is Donald Glover, Childish Gambino.
Oh,
when I heard because the internet.
No matter what you say or what you do,
like he literally with that project he tied the internet world into the real world in such a beautiful, perfect way that like I can't even begin to think about how he even started to think about any of it.
He's really good at what he does, and his crossover is amazing. That he went from music to acting and was successful. Yeah. And I don't believe that he retired. No. I believe every artist gets to a point where they're like, I'm going to retire. And then 5 years later, we're like,
but you're creative.
I heard you bitches were looking for me. Yeah.
Yeah, like your thing is to make shit happen constantly if you're creative, you know. So like no matter how many times an artist says like, "Oh, I'm done," like they're gonna crave that feeling again because they've
Are
done it.
you big on Khalid?
Yes, I not as much anymore, but when he what was
When he
it?
first started, it was way different.
The what was it? American Teen or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. When that dropped, first of all, the first song I think a lot of people heard from him was Location, and I heard Location and I was just like, okay, like are you
Ma'am.
serious? Yeah. Location and then like Shot Down and stuff like that off of that project, and I was just like, his voices was super different at the time too, because that's like another huge inspiration. Like I was just telling George over here, George.
Yeah.
Sorry,
George or Jay?
George J. So another huge
Georgie
inspiration.
J.
Before the EP that I'm releasing soon, like a huge inspiration has been Giveon, and mainly because like him and Khalid, I feel like for me at least, were the first to kind of like show people or show other artists, musicians, it's okay to like use that lower end of your voice. So when I heard both of their voices for the first time, I was like they're using a lot of low end and there's not like falsettos and stuff and there's not much going on and they're just doing it with like the lyrics and just the way they say things and yeah, so that was literally all I was listening to before I made this EP was Giveon. And I was like, how can I sat there and I studied this album and I was like, how can I do this? I was like, how can I like make something like this? And
Now, did you study music or everything that you've learned, you've taught yourself?
Kind of a little bit of both. I was in 5th grade, I joined band and I played trumpet up until 12th grade when I graduated my senior year.
Wow, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so, but
I mean, doing it that long,
yeah,
I feel like
it's
you would
second
know
nature.
something.
It's second nature.
All right, cool.
So like,
I'm cool with that.
the theory part of it, I don't remember, like music theory, and like I barely remember how to read music. It's just more like I do it by ear. Also, the whole singing aspect of like my music career, I guess if you want to call it that. My dad was a singer, and my sister's also a singer. And unfortunately, you know, things happen in their life where they couldn't carry out their dreams. So I'm like the last one that I feel like is able to
The
do so right
chosen
now.
one.
You know, so, and I got that literally just genetically from them and just being around them all the time and hearing them play R&B music. And that's all I heard growing up, and just like old boy bands like New Edition and like Boys to Men and all that. That's a huge part of why I put a lot of harmonies in my songs.
Favorite Boys to Men song?
Damn.
If you can choose one.
Favorite Boys to Men. I guess it's not a Boys to Men song, but it's a LL Cool J song, Hey Lover, with Boys to Men on it. And that's where like I started hearing a lot
This
of
guy.
like the runs and stuff they do in that song. I was just like, bro, it just paired up with just like the bars like LL was dropping and just all that good stuff.
And how old are you?
I'm 23.
23.
I'm 22, but I'm going on 23.
Right? Look at Ricky's like, he knows about that. Yeah, so, okay. And favorite New Edition song?
Favorite New Edition song, probably Can You Stand the Rain, for sure.
Ooh, you gonna start something up in here. You gonna start something up in here.
That song literally only reminds me like of waking up on a Sunday and my dad was just blasting it on the stereo. Either that or If It Isn't Love. Like, you know?
I'm glad you're mentioning that. I want to bring it way back. Let's talk about the first time that you realized, like, yo, music is it. Like, I want to do music. I want to pursue this.
Damn, it wasn't even that long ago, honestly. Probably like solid like 10 years ago in high school. Because like I've always been around the music.
It's been time.
A little bit, like, but it wasn't like, I'm not one of those people where they're like, oh, I picked up my first guitar at like 4 years old. And like, I've just always like, nah, like my whole life, I really wanted to be either just like a baseball player. I used to love baseball when I was little, or like when I started getting a little bit older, like I wanted to be an architect, like drafting design and stuff. Just like I liked looking at houses and just like I was just interested in how they were made and who even thought of that, you know, or
wow.
like any building. But then like I was in band, you know, through that, but I think it was my sophomore year. Yeah, my sophomore year, either freshman or sophomore year of high school, where they gave us in Methuen High. We were lucky enough to have iPads for homework and stuff. And I wouldn't use that shit for homework. I just went home and used GarageBand every day, and I would remake my favorite
real
songs,
things that we needed to learn.
You know, so I would just go home and remake my favorite songs. So like I think the first thing I ever made or like created on an iPad or just musically produced or whatever was a remake of Flight of the Navigator by Childish Gambino. It's off of Because the Internet. And it was just solely because I loved that song. So I did that. And then I was like remaking, my favorite songs, and I would just kind of do covers. And then I was like, hold up, like, why am I not making my own stuff now?
You kind of start with the remixes and the remakes, and then you're just like, I think I can do this on my own.
Like, I was like the same way like I'm doing this now, just with like a song I already know. I was like, I can sit here and kind of just make something from scratch. So that's why like my process has always been from scratch. Like I don't, not to like kind of slander people who buy YouTube beats or anything like that, but like I just like when it comes solely from me myself,
right.
Like within, because like I'm all about creating. If I'm making a song, like I'm trying to create a feeling. I don't want to do it because something is mainstream or just I want it to.
There's artists and then there's celebrities.
Of course, exactly.
So there's a very big difference that a lot of people don't understand.
They don't. You know what I'm saying?
So like when I do music, I want to try to be a celebrity. I don't care to be an artist.
And that's okay. And it's like
I just want the check.
Exactly. There's people who are in it just for like the money or whatever you want to call it.
But I really do like seeing people who take their time crafting their music, because a lot of people really don't understand the process that comes behind that. Like, especially when you're in a blocked headspace and you're just like, I don't know what the fuck I want to talk about. Man. And like interviewing artists is helping me have an understanding of that, because that's literally where my mind's at, where I'm like, I want to do music, but I don't know what the fuck I want to talk about. Yeah. But hearing everyone's process is like, oh, that's what you're doing. Let me try that. Like, so what's your process like? Bring us through that. Like when you produce your beat and you're sitting there, are you just like running through like melodies in your head? Are you writing at the same time? I know like Melix said, shout out Melix, like at the last episode, he likes to just put the beat on and just like start like rapping and then just like record as he freestyles and then just like combine it together and make a verse. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
For me, honestly, like I don't have one set process. I guess lately, so at first, when I first started like producing whatever, making my own beats and just making my own music, I would have an idea in my head. I always hear like 24/7, even if it's a song that I don't know, or if a song that it doesn't exist, like there's something playing in my head, and it like I have to either like voice memo it or get it out or something so I don't forget it. But when I'm home, I literally just sit down and I open my laptop, because ideas are cool, yeah, and like being any kind of artist or a creative, you're always gonna have ideas, right? But like to a certain extent, when you have an idea, you're forcing something, and everybody knows nothing is ever good when you're forcing something, right? You have that idea in your head and you have this notion, you're like, okay, I want it to sound like this. But a lot of musicians know, like our producers know, that when that happens, like it ends up being completely different. And like that's why now I literally just like open my laptop and I'm just like, okay, let's make something today. And like if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I keep it moving,
But sometimes you don't like it instantly, and then it's sitting on your desktop, and then a year later you're like,
come back to it.
Yeah. You're like, I've been thinking about this little song that I recorded. Let me fuse it with this. So I like that too.
Yeah. Like there is actually the first unreleased I was showing you. That beat I made last summer, and there's technically two versions to it, because there's a whole version to it that no one's ever gonna hear. But it was the first version to it, and I recorded it, and then I ended up hating it. And then like I started making this EP recently, and then I was like, let me open that beat up again. So I changed. There's two parts that are the same, but I changed the entire song pretty much, and yeah.
So I don't know if this is something that you can probably chime in on, but I feel like there's a very big difference with artists in the city. So there's like these artists who are...
Don't get me started.
No. So no shade intended, but I need Hollywood Unlocked to get up on here. But it's no shade. I just feel like there's a very big difference, and there's no medium when it comes down to the older artists who have been doing this for a while, and then the younger artists like yourself, Malik, all of you guys who are coming up now and are really no shade towards anyone, but really just giving what it said it was gonna give every time. So chime in a little bit on that. What do you see? How do you feel about it? Do you feel any way about it? Do you even think about that?
I try not to get too deep into
To the politics of
into
it.
the politics of musicians and artists in Lawrence, but there is music specifically. There is a lot of people who have been doing this for so long, and they talk about it, and they talk about being big, and they've always talked about being big
Because
and
they
talk
had one
about
feature.
because they have ding,
Because
and
they
nailed it. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
because they were on a DJ.
it's just like you can say that you can have features, you can have whatever, but like that's only gonna do so much for you, because if you're really like trying to make it, whatever you want to call it, like what's gonna show is what's coming from you.
Period.
You get me? So like that's why I say, like, when I'm creating a song, I like to start it from scratch, just because like I'm creating that feeling and it's all coming from me. And that's why lately I feel like, not to put myself on a pedestal, because I don't like putting myself above anybody. I'm always about like helping everybody, you know what I'm saying? But that's why a lot of people are supporting me lately, because they feel me, like everything I'm saying on every track that I've released as of late, like it's a literal piece of me, like that's going out into the world and that I'm allowing you guys to feel and hear. But then there's just the people who talk and they're like, oh, I had this person, I helped this person, I produced for this person or whatever. And it's like, good for you, bro. Like, let me hear the music.
I'm just gonna smile at
Let
my
me hear the
camera.
music, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
I definitely agree. I've heard about you first through Lisi. Shout out Lisi, my baby.
shout out Lisa.
She was like, "Have you heard of Natine?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "He's kind of like a musical genius," and I'm like,
Stop.
who the fuck is this? So I looked you up and I was like, ooh, this is in Lawrence? I think it's always surprising to see that and to hear it. Tell us a little bit about your journey as like through being a local artist, starting in your room where you record, and then now branching out and like being more on stage, or like being with, like you said, people are now going to you for like help or whatever, creative juices, creative collaborations, not help, creative collaborations.
It's been, honestly, so I think about it. I've been thinking about it very often lately, because I never really like I told you guys when I first came in here, like I've always been super reserved. Like I just keep to myself. It's not that I don't like people. It's just that I like to avoid conflict at all costs, and just that Lawrence mentality is just always about conflict, and they always want to make it a competition, or they always want to whatever. You get me? So like,
I'm just gonna smile keep talking. I'm gonna smile to my camera.
It's been an interesting journey. The first song I made was I dropped was on SoundCloud, and it was whatever. Like it was just like a cool little song that I thought was cool at the time. Yeah, and it was just like, it was alright. But anyway, so like I started using DistroKid and putting my stuff on major streaming platforms, and the first song I had was it was like a minute and something long, and then everybody started reposting it and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is like a rush, like it was like a high.
It feels good, yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that again.
It feels good because it's gratification, and it's also confirmation that you're doing something that you're meant to be doing.
Exactly.
Like, people view reposts and stuff like, oh, I don't need reposts. It's because you're not getting them.
Exactly. It's because
it's not that you don't need them.
You're low key envious. You get me? But honestly, I've never been one to care about validation from anybody or like the public. I've never been the popular guy in school. I never cared about that. Like I never wanted. I'm okay with like the 3 friends I have.
Yeah.
Because like I stay at peace, and I know those 3 friends are always gonna be there, and vice versa, But now being out in the music scene more, it's shown me I guess kind of what I've been missing out on. But at the same time, I don't know how to explain it. I don't feel like I was ever missing anything. Now it's just more of what I'm putting out, or what I have been putting out, and the energy I've been putting out is literally attracting everything that was meant for me.
Yeah.
So like you said, Malik and Lisi, and just all those people that these are people that I've literally, like, I didn't know them before, but I've always wanted to work with people like this because they care as just as much as I do about
they
this,
really care about the craft.
You get me? Like, and like they're very much passionate about their singing and just like the end product and just like what they want, and and it's just like that's how I am with my craft, so that's all I want to be around right now. And and I feel like that's solely just because of like the work I've been putting out and the I don't know, consistent just progress over the years. So like the journey's been interesting for sure. Like I don't know. I kind of just reflect.
Let's take a quick break. All right, so we back. Let's get into this new EP. Well, we didn't really get to talk about it. I started the question and then I was like, talk about the first one.
Literally, but I mean, it was cool. We built up to it. But this new EP, it's not a lot like my first one, because in a sense where it's the second one we talked about, right, is very experimental. I was just kind of like testing a lot of my abilities on that one. But the first one was, again, I was going through some shit, very personal, and it was a piece of me. So same thing with this EP. A lot of the inspiration was depression and sadness, and
I feel like that's where a lot of great music comes from, though.
Of course, and a lot of listening to Giveon, and I had slacked on his album for a long time, and then I started listening to it, and it was just waterworks, and I was just like, all right, I want to make something like this that makes me feel like this, but for other people. You get me? So, and at the time, again, I was just going through a lot, and I don't know. It's just like a lot of the songs too on this EP I don't remember making or creating. A lot of it was just in the moment. Like I would just like, there's one of my favorite songs off of it. Like I literally, one of my boys just kind of like recorded something like a harp track on Logic one day, and I was like, save that because I want to use it. And I woke up the next morning and I was literally like, in tears, and like I just got out of bed and I just went to my closet and started recording, and whatever the fuck came out was that song. And yeah, so this EP is a lot of just like personal emotion and whatever, but it's also different from the rest of them because I finally feel like I'm in the R&B lane I've always wanted to be in. It's super R&B, super inspired by a lot of, again, Giveon, a lot of my inspirations. There's a lot of vocal work in it. There's a lot of harmonizing and layers, like a lot of, if you look at the Logic sessions, it's literally just like layers of audio and stuff. And it's a cool EP.
What's the name? The title?
The title of it is Lost at Sea. So at first that wasn't the title of it, but hence that track list I dropped with that picture of me walking into the ocean, I actually posted a story of that moment, but it was just me walking into the ocean. And I was going through my photos and videos the other day. I was like, what the fuck can I use for like a cover art or whatever? And again, I like doing things on my own, so like I just kind of just edit it myself and whatever. So I took a screenshot of that video and I essentially just kind of like saturated it and made it very cool. So it's super blue.
Made it very cool.
Yeah, cool and cool. But like I made the the tone of it very cool. And again, like when I'm in my room recording, it's usually cool colors and purples and blues. And
so you set a whole vibe for yourself.
Yeah,
that's
like,
epic.
I have to.
I feel like that's where this came from.
Yeah, honestly.
Because I was like, it's gonna be dark, and I want to do something more colorful, and this kind of just
fit with
the visual performance made sense. Yeah. Everything just made sense. I was like, okay.
I appreciate just like something as small as that, as just lighting. It's just, it kind of just, again, you got that simply just from the energy I give off, I guess, because this is actually the first time being in the room with all of you guys like talking. You get me? So, but so like that EP, I put that track listing up, and the name of it, again, Lost at Sea. So it's really just, Lost at Sea is a big-ass metaphor, or actually not a big-ass metaphor. It's a simple metaphor for, I guess, the complexities of just my experiences thus far with life and love, like whatever you want to call that shit. Like being lost at sea, right? So
Love
like,
don't make no
it
sense.
don't make any sense, and it's just being lost at sea is similar in a way where, like, to me at least, where we don't know too much about the ocean, we don't know too much about the sea. Same way we don't know too much about life or love, whatever. But the most you can do is just fucking dive into it, right? And just hope for whatever the fuck that comes out of it is like good for you. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes you feel like you're drowning. Sometimes you feel like you can't fucking breathe. But the only way out is up. If you swim the fuck back up, you get me? So it's just a really just like a simple metaphor for a lot of the shit that I was going through at the time, still going through, you know, always healing and whatever. But again, only way out is up. So
I like to ask every guest, how many songs are in the vault?
in the vaults, I actually have a folder called The Vault, and there's just fucking a plethora of songs in there.
If you could put a number.
I don't know, hundreds. I won't say thousands. There's a lot of stuff too that, like, there's beats that I have never touched either, so I guess maybe it's in the thousands. But songs that, like, I've recorded to, written to, and stuff, but I probably won't ever do anything with, yeah, like hundreds of them. And
wow.
Yeah, so there's just,
I always think that's pretty epic. There's reference tracks.
Yeah.
And then when you die, I'm gonna buy all those rights.
And then release it. I'm gonna make sure.
And we gonna release, baby.
My last breath, my last dying word is gonna be like,
let Rue get the rights.
Delete, just format my whole entire hard drive. Just do it. But nah.
Who are some of the features on this?
There's one feature, and it is Miss Lisi.
Period.
I met her through Malik, because Malik had been following me for a while. I remember he was online on Twitter saying some shit about the artist in Lawrence and shit. And somebody was like, yo, listen to Natine. And he was like, oh, shit. All right, cool, whatever. He started fucking with my music. That was when I dropped, I think, the first EP. And after that, he's just been supporting me since. And then one day, like, he posted, like, this thing on his story where it was, like, tag 10 artists from your city so they can follow each other, whatever. He did so, and the only one that followed me was Lisi. And I looked at her page, and I saw her singing videos, and I was like, who the fuck is this?
Right,
I was like I just heard the voice, right? And I was just like, again, these are the people I've been waiting to work with, because I'm very selective about who I work with, mainly, again, because I just care too much about my shit. I'm just super picky. And there was this one track that I just, like, produced one day. I started making it, and then again, like I told you, I'm constantly hearing music in my head and stuff. So with that one track, I just kept hearing her voice for, like, this certain part, and I had, like, little melodies I had written for her, whatever. And so I was like, I sent it to her, and I was like, I need you on this track, please. Right. Like, please sing on this track. And that was actually
the last. And she's so good for it,
bro. I can't so even. Her voice is insane. Like, talent,
she's come such a long way.
And that's what I tell her, and I tell Malik, and I was like, you guys, like the growth, like, you don't see it, but, like, I'm watching it, like, for, like, in front of me, and, like, all I want to do is help you guys just grow and blossom into whatever the hell you've always wanted to be. And I see it every day, and, you know, I'm always just helping them. Like, they'll hit me up for, like, just advice, or just be like, let's work on something, let's just make something today, you know. But yeah, so that's the only feature, mainly, again, because I'm picky, and that was the only one I felt that was right for this project, that fit for that one song. The song is called Like You, and it's a very call and response type song. So like, I'm saying stuff, she'll say something right after, and then, you know, and then, like I said, I only had like 3 lyrics written for her, and then like a melody. And I was like, whatever the fuck else is, like, empty on that song, that's all you. And she pulled some crazy shit out of the bag, and I was just like, okay, like, yeah, I was waiting for that. So
are there who would be a dream feature for you? We know Frank Ocean.
Honestly, I don't even think I would want to do a feature with Frank Ocean. Just like, it's not even about, like, I know people say like you should never, like, meet your idols, whatever. Like, I don't see it that way, just because, like, I guess it's your perspective on it. I would love to meet Frank Ocean and just have a conversation with him one day, but to work with him and to make a song together,
we never gonna hear it.
You definitely, honestly, who knows? Maybe that'll change. Maybe, you know, stuff changes, like, mindsets change and your perspective changes. But, like, I just see it as, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's kind of selfish, but that'll take away from what I've always seen in him. You get me? Like, as him being my biggest idol and inspiration. Like, I just want to keep it that way. You know, like I don't want to necessarily like know what he's like while making a song, or just, you get me? Like, I'd rather just keep
you appreciate the mystery.
Exactly, like that mystique he has, and that just like the elusiveness. Like, you never see him. Like, I don't want to see Frank all the time. Like, I don't want to know him.
Who will you work with?
Will I work with? Definitely, if I get to someday, Childish Gambino. If I can work with any producer too, that would just definitely Kanye. Man, Kanye and Mike Dean as the engineer, or just like on the synths as well. Man, those vocals, those freaking synths, and just everything about their work together. Definitely, like, I would love to work with Kanye or Childish, because I don't know who else I would really. I guess that would just come when the time comes, but
and it will come. Like I always remind all the artists that come on here.
Of course, you know, just gotta be your own biggest fan in this shit, because everybody's gonna have something to say about you, good or bad. So I really don't. Again, I don't care about validation. I don't care about what anybody has to say about me. If people support me, that's cool too. But like, I'm just here doing my own thing, and that's what people are gonna see. That's what's gonna reach people. You feel me? So.
All right. I think I covered a lot. I want to give you a minute to let everybody know where they can find you, where they can stream you, and shout outs or anything that you want to, any last minute notes you want to leave us with.
Well, first off, you guys can find, again, I go by the name of Natine. That's Natine. You can find me on all major streaming platforms. So Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Google Play. You can find me on YouTube. You Have No Excuses. It's everywhere. The only thing I don't really post to is SoundCloud, just because I'm over that. But that's a personal opinion, I guess. Any last notes that I would like to leave people with?
Or leave yourself, because when you look back in 10 years,
yeah, that's true.
You're going to be like, yo, look at my mansion. And I was recording in that rinky-dink studio.
Just to remember why you do shit. And if you're going to be good at something, you should strive to be really fucking good at it.
And the AC turned off because this needed to be heard.
Yeah, it's like perfectly quiet now. But it's just, right now, my mindset for myself, and I guess just for what I want to see, what I want everybody to see in me, is just like, you got to be a little selfish sometimes, and you should just always strive to be every day. Like, I get that shit is hard, and again, I've gone through my shit. Everybody has their shit, but every day is a day to get better at whatever the fuck it is that you love to do. And if you don't know what you love to do, every day is a day to go and find that. And again, this is what I tell everybody, and people who are watching this video that know me. This is what I've been telling them lately. Like, when you say you're going to try something, you're already promoting doubt. You're already like saying that a part of you knows that you might not be able to do it. So just get up and do that shit. And if it's not for you, that's cool. Just keep it moving. But just do that shit. Just do it. Because if you try shit, it's not going to work out.
And that's why I don't like to plan, and I like to just get it fucking done.
Just wing shit. And that's what I've been doing with my life lately. And so far, it's working out great. So.
Alrighty, y'all. So we're going to wrap this episode up. I want to shout out to my team, George and Mishala, for being here. Izzy's in the building. Kat's in the building. Yes, Ricky for coming out and capturing some great candids. And Natine, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Check out the visual. It's also on the YouTube. And make sure you guys go follow him.
EP is out soon. Well, it will be out by the time
the time this comes out, the EP should be coming out. And I just want to make an announcement. If anybody, any local artist or any artist in general that's watching this, if you want to be on Ruality, just hit me up. I am not shy about bringing anyone on. Just make sure it sounds good. And yeah, like, let's continue doing what the fuck we do. My name is Rue Zalez, and I'm blasting off.